LukaNation. This is kind of like a breakfast edition for me. I still got my morning coffee. We're recording this. It's 11:55 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. So you guys can tell my eyes are still waking up, and my hair I wanted it to look like Cage's, but it's not the case. I went with a mohawk instead.
It looks good. A little mohawk action. It looks like when Ben Stiller couldn't find the stuff, and it was on his ear. Was that hair gel? Was that hair gel? And then she spikes his hair up, and there's something about Mary. You look like that Ben Stiller's hair. Do you know what scene I'm talking about, or no?
No, but I'll tell you, Ben Stiller's got to be up there, top 10 actor of all time. He's dynamic, man. He's hilarious. You agree or no? Agree or disagree?
I mean, yeah, I guess he's a good actor. Some of the stuff he does I don't love, but he's a good.
But he's dynamic, Cage. He plays a lot of different roles. Like he put Zoolander to Along Came Polly to Tropic Thunder.
Yeah,
I mean,
I hate Zoolander, so I'll throw that one out there. With all the stupid humor stuff that I like, you would think that would be a movie right in my wheelhouse. I don't like Zoolander at all. Like that's just that. I don't know.
I think that they could have cast you for Zoolander. Personally, I think you would have fit perfectly in.
You want to go? I can't go left, so it would work. It worked nicely. It would work out nicely. I can't go left. Not on the basketball court. Not anywhere.
So let me tell you guys what to expect from today's episode. So I want to talk about the COVID outbreak across all of these sports. Urban Meyer fired. Anthony Edwards went off for 10 3-pointers. I want to talk a little bit about crypto, Cage. You had a good point the other day about how the sports card community, even though there's a very loud group of people who are anti-NFTs, there's also a lot of people, and that audience is growing, that's jumping into NFTs. Whether they're creating their own or investing coming from the sports card community. And I want you to give a little Panini NFT update because I sold 5 digital cards, 2 Jason Tatums, a Desmond Bain out of 299, Kevin Durant rookie, and my total sale profit was $10. Not profit.
Hey, at least
total.
you made $10.
No, $10 total was what I got.
Total sold.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not so good. I mean, listen, they are facing a brick wall, I think. They've given some guidance on it. They have given guidance about, payment. One of the cool things about like Top Shop, for example, on their Dapper, blockchain, even though it's centralized and it's their own platform, they have their own payment processing as well. So you buy something, imagine what would have happened if it was on PayPal and everybody was buying in March, April at the highs, and then the May lows came, or February, March highs, and the April lows came. Imagine how many PayPal claims would have been open. And I really do believe that is a huge part of why PayPal, why the Panini platform did not take off yet, the way that Top Shot did. There is sort of that no backsies in crypto and in that space, right? And you don't have that with PayPal. And now they're going to have a double whammy of the rules are changing next year. And guys, pay your taxes. If you have a tax liability, it means you're making money, so that's a good thing. Pay your taxes. But the point
we could talk a little bit about that. I added that to the list if you want, because you've been doing a lot of tax research recently.
Well, so I mean, but here's the thing. I believe that PayPal is changing their rules again next year as to what they will report. I think it's like anybody who takes in $500 or more is getting a tax form, I think. I'll have to research it, but now it's like, 200 transactions and $20,000 or something like that. Now I believe in it's going to be changing in 2021. So, people who are going to be selling a couple of Panini cards on PayPal, they have to factor tax implications into it as well. You buy a couple of packs and you sell them, and all of a sudden you got to contact an accountant. So, interesting.
Let's start. Urban Meyer fired. Let's talk a little bit about drama. You've watched NFL for a long time.
Yep.
What is is there a better betting spot than when a coach that everybody in the organization hates and then they fire him? So Jags -4, is that a lock of the week?
Well, I mean, listen, if the Jags were a lock anytime, they probably would have won a couple more games. Urban Meyer not there. You still have to have talent to win games. This is a winnable game for them.
Laviska Shenault, that's not talent.
No, the point you're trying to make, I think, is that the team is now going to rally because he was the cancer, and they're all going to be able to now, not be held back by the big bad Urban Meyer. If that's really the case, that's kind of sad because it means they have the talent.
It happens time and time again.
It happens. I'm not going to say it doesn't happen. It does happen, and we've been exposed to that a little more. We've talked about it a bunch of times. When first watching The Last Dance, I was like, Michael Jordan's the greatest basketball player ever. He really needs these little things to get up and play. I mean, he has the talent. He can fly. He can do all these things. For him to put in his best game, he really needs to have a fake slight. He has to have, bulletin board material. He has to think that other guy on the other team insulted me. He stole my lunch. That guy, he tried to kiss my girl. You really need something extra.
Is that fake slight? And if that guy tried to kiss your girl, would you not give him 40 the next game?
No, he's just making it up in his brain is the point. You know what I mean? Like that, it never actually happened, right?
So, let me ask you. We show up for a show every single day, Cage. What do you use to get up for the show? How do you get pumped up?
I don't know. The next time I get pumped up, I'll let you know. And we want to pump you.
You tie dye your shirt. You tie dye your shirts is what you do.
This is the same one tie-dye shirt that I have. I haven't worn this in a while, but I figured I'd rock it today. It was a nice free t-shirt, so get a lot of free t-shirts. It's what do I use to get up? This is the part of my day that's easy to get up for because I'm so down the rest of my day. So I get up for this, I guess, naturally because this is the fun part of my day. You get to, talk sports and sports cards and, kind of, to me, I don't have difficulty getting up. The rest of my day, waking up. The rest of my day,
5-hour claims calls are what you need to get up for.
I have my caffeine. Look at this. We're not supposed to drink during the show, but I can't help it. I'm sorry, Dad.
In a cup that literally looks like you've thrown that at Ian like 50 times.
This is definitely not a dishwasher safe cup, and yet I continue to put it in the dishwasher. And every time it has less. This is a perfect cup. It is the Yankees. Right? It's the Yankees. And it's just they're beat up. They're not what they used to be. And there's no signs of them turning it around and looking like a respectable team in the future. So Urban Meyer. I wouldn't bet against the Jags. It makes a very good storyline to say, hey, they got rid of the coach and look what they did. They've won 2 games already. He's not the worst coach in the league. That's got to go to the Lions. Campbell, who I like.
No.
Yeah.
No way, dude. The Lions have done more with less. The Jaguars have a decent team.
Who was their decent team?
They have decent draft picks, I guess is a better way to put it.
They have Trevor Lawrence.
Yep. Right? What about Mack, that linebacker?
They have a good linebacker. Their running back is
Jerome Robinson
is an undrafted free agent. Right? That's not even through the draft. Laviska Shenault wasn't a high draft pick at all, and he's the sort of, I guess, the one wide receiver. DJ Chark is injured. You can't really blame anyone for that. The team is not supremely talented, and Detroit has a number 1 pick at quarterback also, right? So,
Jared Goff?
Yeah. Cancel them out. We don't know. Trevor Lawrence might very well be Jared Goff in the making. So, I haven't seen Urban Meyer. I haven't seen him cry. I've seen him party, in his little sweatshirts and stuff. I've seen him at the bar getting drunk and stuff. Dude, I can't tell you what goes on there. The Raiders didn't exactly rally around, Gruden losing and the Ruggs thing. They're pretty terrible.
They won the game. They won the game.
But a shitty game. Yeah, they won the game. They won one game. One game. Okay.
He's so frustrating.
The best part about this is when it happens, right? They're playing the Texans, who may actually be worse than them. So is it a lock? Sure. Why not?
All right, let's keep moving. Anthony Edwards, 10 threes.
For our Whatnot show.
Wink, wink, no. Seriously, tune in, though. We only have a few weeks left, but I think we're going to be carrying on with some other interesting content. We'll see. We'll talk about that. But Sundays at 10 a.m. Anthony Edwards, youngest to 10 threes in a game. What's crazy about that is I always thought that his three-point shooting was the worst part of his game. You know what I mean? His athleticism, his finishing at the rim. This guy could be really good, huh?
a lot of more step back threes. Did you watch the game? You watch any highlights or anything?
I watched a little bit of the game.
If he works a step back three like Harden style into the game, and everybody is out there guarding him at the 3-point line, worried that he's going to drive past him and posterize him, and then he works a step back three into his game, he could be very, very good. He could be very good. The problem is he's still playing where he's playing.
In Minnesota. You're right. He reminds me of a Dwayne Wade. I've said this before, but a Dwayne Wade in 2020 would look way different than a Dwayne Wade coming in 2003. Because if you guys remember, 2003, mid-range jumper was still a part of the game. Right now, it's finishing at the rim or 3-point shots. And, Dwayne Wade, for his size, man, he finished strong at the rim. I'll always remember that Varejao dunk. What card would you want to hold of Anthony Edwards? So you have the National Treasures, non-game worn, not even player worn, but that's always going to be the go-to. Or do you go gold? If you money aside, what's the go-to card to hold for Anthony Edwards?
Yeah, I would say the National Treasures out of 99. It's what the regular RPI. I think that would probably be the go-to right now still. Clearly, if you get a logo man, a 101, something insane like that, that'd be great. Right. A Prism Gold is up there. People chase those things. But yeah, that National Treasure, that seems to be the one people go after. You look at it, Luka having a good season.
His cards are down almost 50%.
That card's down 50%. Do me a favor.
Sure.
Look at what the Luka selling on PWCC's Premier Auction. Just pull up PWCC's Premier Auction. It ends in 2 days, I think. 2 days.
I saw the one that's side by side. Lamine pointed it out really well. It was like LeBron and Luka right side by side.
It's just I don't know if Lamine did but the two right now, the two top cards on their auction are a LeBron and a Luka. And last night, the Luka outpaced the LeBron. The LeBron is a BGS 9.5. I think limited logo is from Exquisite Rookie out of 75, I think. And the Luka is what we're talking about, the National Treasures RPA out of 99 with a 10-10. So it's a 10-card, 10 auto on the Luka. So obviously, that carries some weight to it. But if you're able to pull it up, you'll see that it's over $500,000 with the buyer's premium.
And this is guaranteed that people pay, right? This can't be like fake comps.
Yeah, if you go to the left there and go by filters, go by highest price. And this might be monthly. Get out of monthly and go to Premier Auction, top left. Premier Auction, click it. It should be the first one that comes up for those of you on YouTube, who are watching along with us.
There it is.
So there, first two right there. So look at that. It's
PSA 10.
And that's without the 20% buyer's premium. So you're adding $92,000 to that. It's at $552,000 right now.
Wow.
So, and Luka's not exactly in shape. He's not even playing right now, right? So, if Lamine did a side-by-side, I should have seen that. I apologize. I follow him, and I didn't see it. There's a lot of content out there. But if it was a side-by-side with the limited logos, yes, if the point that's trying to be made is how do you not pay more for that limited logos there than the Luka, people are still prospecting on Luka and thinking maybe he still wins 5 or whatever, and that's $1 million card. And, this is the LeBron. It's in BGS, so people don't love. It's the lesser, sought after one, even though there's less number. It's a lesser sought after one than the RPA, the traditional Exquisite RPA, out of 99. So, but either one is an amazing card. But the point I'm trying to make here is look at what that Luka is selling for. Right, that's the RPA. That seems to be like the gold standard card for for chasing a rookie. So look at that.
How often do you spend your time on just checking out auctions?
Pretty often. Like,
is that like your nightly routine? Is that like your nightly routine?
Yeah, I'll see what's being sold, what's selling. I was actually on the phone with PWCC yesterday when the most recent bid came in for that Luka. And they're like, "Oh, the Luka went up." I was on the phone with them. I'm like, "Oh man, what's it at now?" So,
what do you do? What do you search? What are some data points you're looking for?
Well, listen, I'm always looking for what I would consider like bellwethers. You know what I mean? Right now, what I look for in the monthly auction is how are the base doing. Right, so if you're a basketball guy, basketball ended a couple of days ago. Football ended a couple of days ago. Yesterday was, other sports, and I like to look for what's the Trey Silver going to sell for. What's the Luka silver going to sell for? What's the Ja? What's a LeBron? What's a Zion, right? And then if you have them for comparison points, what are the 9.5s? Min gem, true gem, better than gem selling for as far as like percentages of the PSA 10s? Because that gives you a good guide also, because there's a million ways to skin a cat in the hobby, right? There's arbitrage between the labels. A fun little thing that I've noticed is, if you're in the Michael Jordan world, the Michael Jordan PSA 10 world, I am looking at the SGC labels. The SGC 10s are actually starting to move up, which is an interesting thing, right? So people are paying more. SGC 10s are over $100,000, whereas BGS 9.5s are not even close to that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm curious. It would be cool to see that charted over time, right?
Yeah.
PSA 10 prices, BGS 9.5 versus SGC 10.
I'll tell you what I'm looking forward to as a Jordan PSA 10 holder. I'll bet you PSA's not looking forward to it, but there are 3 BGS 10 Jordans.
That's what I hear. I've never seen one. I've never seen one in public.
One of those is going to sell soon. One of those has to sell. I'm looking forward to one of those selling because, that's kind of like that next level in Jordan. You see all these cards selling now, the rare. Like that is the rare level of Jordan. And with the amount of money and records being set, if that one sells for $2.5 million, I wouldn't be surprised. And then that also then resets the 9.5s, maybe the PSA 10s and the SGC 10s and that kind of stuff.
Well, can I give you my theory?
Sure.
If you see a BGS 10 sell for I thought it would sell for $1 million. So you're going over $2 million. If that happens, man, people are going to start looking for SGC 10s and PSA 10s to cross.
Yep. 100%. You would think that the person who paid the $700,000 for what they thought was the nicest PSA 10 would see that and think about trying to cross it over to a BGS 10 also.
And you have that story with Logan Paul, Cage. And you have that story with Logan Paul, right? And he bought the PSA 10 Charizard, crossed that to a BGS. I mean, he cracked it and then submitted it to a BGS 10 Zard. So, sorry, I cut you off.
No, but I mean, listen, that's a good thing. For them, look at the press they're getting out of it. I also think that if a Jordan BGS 10 sells for 7 figures, they'll get great press out of it. Beckett would get great press out of that. Yeah, everything else would kind of pick up because of it, because things move that way. I think if you're right, and the grading companies and market makers, they probably would want to keep the pop on those pretty small.
3.
I don't think they'd be crossing over too many.
Even if it's Steve Aoki's?
Well, I mean, that's the difference, right? I mean, if you fill out the Beckett form and you write Logan Paul Charizard, maybe it hits differently than Andrew Goldberg.
Contact information, Logan Paul, the Impulsive Show.
I mean, I don't know. Remember, I filled out my grading form sometimes as John Jones. This way I get to talk about him, and no one. I don't write Cage Lawyer on my grading form. It's not like anybody gives a crap about me, but I want to be able to talk about it as like a random. Although I should stop doing that because maybe they think it's John Jones, the fighter's cards, and give me better grades. You never know, I guess.
They care about you more than you think. On Find Your Trove, our buddy's page, he gave you a shout out of the Santa Claus Kobe card that you talked about like 3-4 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's cool. He's got a show. He was doing something with Collectible recently. Find Your Trove. Smart kid.
Is that right? Pumping LeBron and AD cards?
Maybe. Then we had a couple people.
I never forget.
You never. Well, it's good, man. You're like an elephant. Don't forget. I'll try not to give you anything that's forgettable. That's kind of my role here. But no, I mean, listen, I like watching that stuff because I like to see the spreads. I like to see cards that are moving. And to the downside too, and I mean, this will lead towards my play because it's in the same vicinity. But I like to watch when cards are going up, right? And you see the prices for some of these cards, like a Luka card going at that kind of money, or Herbert cards, and you see all these animal print cards of these quarterbacks. I start to look and I'm like, okay, Joe Montana's card was moving there for a while, but it came down. Remember, you gave the Niners a play, right? And they've started to come down, and the pop is still pretty low on those, right? And I'm like, why would people be spending this kind of money on some of these quarterbacks that will never be Joe Montana? No matter what they do, they'll never be Joe Montana. And I watch and say, all right, if this comes down enough, you could probably grab a steal. You could probably grab one of these cards, because people aren't looking at them. So it's sort of where I'm going with my play. But I don't want to jump into that yet unless you want me to.
Let's talk crypto.
Oh, sure.
You guys know we have a new show called Crypto Casuals. Its own YouTube channel. Just search Crypto Casuals. You'll see my mean mug, Cage's mug, and my shadowy coder friend, where we're just digging into the world of NFTs and crypto. We do it on a weekly basis, sometimes twice a week. Talk about NFTs. We're buying, we're selling. My buddy is hovering into the metaverse on his Juju hoverboard.
Yeah, I do. Juju.
I'm walking around with my little orphans. I named them Juju Smith-Schuster and Mr. Claypool. So, Cage, interesting week. If you're just talking about the big guys, Bitcoin, Ethereum. If you zoom that chart out, right, it looks volatile in the short term, but over the last month, it's flat. It's right in that 4,000 range for
It's
Ethereum.
like everything else. You got a wide enough view, and it doesn't look as crazy.
No, it does. It's not so crazy. So talk to me. We're in NFTs a lot. Bitcoin's actually down a little bit the last month. Ethereum's pretty flat. What are you seeing? You did some tax research. You think people, are taking losses to offset some tax liability? Do you think that's playing out?
Yes.
So let's start there.
But I mean, it happens in all markets, and maybe it happens in cards if there are people who are, declaring at the end of the year. People are looking at, exit and buy tangible stuff, buy gifts, you name it. And also for tax purposes, you got to close the year out. The NFTs is a little bit different, right? Because,
NFTs
there's no real
sleep.
guidance on it. But, people, when you're in an NFT, you've realized the gain once you had Ethereum and you sold that Ethereum to buy your NFT. That's the way it's treated. It's not that you converted Ethereum into an NFT. You sold it. So if you were in Ethereum at 1,000 and you used it at 4,000 to buy an NFT, you have realized a $3,000 gain there. And there's no sale. There's no nothing. That's your gain. If your NFT is only worth $100 now because of a rug pull or because it didn't do what you thought it was going to do, you haven't recognized that gain. You may be looking at it and saying, okay, that $3,000 is now worth $100. But unless you sell that thing for that $100, you're not realizing the loss to offset that gain. So that's what has to happen at the end of the year. People have to balance that book out. You know what I mean? If something's worth something, you have to actually exit it. You have to have a sale to have that loss offset the gain you made. It's a weird thing. It really is. It's a weird thing.
If we go back a year, Cage,
yep.
So in August 2020, we had a crazy run up in base. In NFT world, I consider base the 10,000 supply PFP projects, 7,000, 8,000, the large supply PFP projects. PFP, if you guys don't know, those are like those avatar projects. And then as we headed into the new year, we saw a flight to quality and we saw lower pop items go up. Vintage, lower pop. You saw Bill Russell cards go up. You saw Michael Jordan cards go up. Are we going to see something similar as the NFT market matures and gets smarter and the general consumer gets smarter? Because what happens in the NFT world sometimes, and it happened with cards too, it's you could be right on the player, but you buy the base card and it doesn't move enough because at any price point that the price goes up, people aim to take profits, right? So it drives that price right back down. Are we going to see a run for 1,000 supply PFPs or NFT projects?
No.
Or do you think? No? What do you project? More of the same?
I'm projecting a lot of people to exit the space.
You do that every Thursday, though.
Yeah, but I do. I expect people to exit the space. Because
the NFT space?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
I don't think more people getting in.
Example. I don't think cards are a good example. I think Top Shot's a better example. I think you're comparing it to cards, and cards are a bad example because cards have a 30, 40-year history of actual collectability, let alone a 100-year history of them being viewed as a tangible asset that you could invest in rather than just a collectible. Although I wouldn't go that far, right? I mean, the 80s was the first boom of like, hey, wow, you can invest in these things. Look at the Mickey Mantle. Look what it's worth, blah, blah, blah. But even that, now that's not going to carry the day, right? Cards were not collectible at one point, and then they became collectible. So just saying, oh, NFTs are new, so they're shit. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that right now, I believe NFTs will follow what happened with Top Shot. There was a little bit of people in it. Those little bit of people made money because a lot of people came in and all wanted to buy the small amount of stuff they had. So for a while, and guys, you don't have to think about this in NFTs. Think about this with anything. Think about this with F1 cards, please, right? Think about it with anything, right? There's a little bit of something. The people who are in it, there's a small amount of people, they're in it. All of a sudden, there's attention brought to it by mainstream media, by influencers, by anyone. And now there's a rush of people who come in, and the supply is not enough to meet that demand yet. All right? Then all of a sudden, there's this price discovery period where the people who are in it early, and there's enough supply for them, now there's not enough supply. The price moons. The price goes up because you have all these people clamoring for a small amount. All right? Now, if you're talking cards, the LeBron Exquisite is a very different class of asset because when people come in, there's not more of those being made. The Prism Golds, the rookies that have low pop, there's never going to be more of those. In the NFT space, we don't know what the LeBron Exquisite is yet. People thought it was CryptoPunks, and they're getting destroyed. Now, they're still way up from where they were, but they're getting wrecked. People thought it was Bored Apes, and maybe it is. Maybe it's not. Bored Apes could be the next one that gets tanked because all of them seem very pompous and full of themselves instead of admitting that they were just lucky, right? So people thought it was Cool Cats. They're about a third of what they were at their peak. People thought it was Hershey.
These are all 10K projects.
Yeah, but so what? So what? What's a 1K project?
Proof Collective.
Who cares about that? That's a different stupid thing. That's a dumb thing. And it's a repeat of something that a million other people have done that all took off for a day and then went in the shitter when people realized it was just a cash grab. So to continue the point, to finish the point, it's I believe that just like Top Shot, there were a little bit of people in it and a little bit of supply, and then all of a sudden the supply booms. And it's all similar. It's all the same stuff. It's all the moments. It's all stuff. Now there's more supply than there are people. And the people who got in as the supply was increasing, they came in at this number and they've lost their shirt. So they leave. And that's what's happening in NFTs now. You might not want to admit it. Maybe you were lucky. Maybe you were in early enough that you're playing with house money now. But the people who have gotten into NFTs in the last couple of months, they're all down. A very few select of them might have gotten lucky and hit something that went up. And if they were lucky enough to hit something that got up and were lucky enough to get out of it early enough, they made some money. Same thing with cards, dude. Same thing with cards. Anybody who came in the last 6 months and their strategy was breaking wax or buying base or buying Prism rookies they're all down. Unless you got lucky and hit a lottery, your scratch off was a winner in a jackpot. You opened a box of Prism and got a great card in it that you were able to sell. You're down. And a lot of people are going to leave. I do believe that. Because nobody's taking care of them. And no one stays in if all you do is lose money.
I think more people make money than you give them credit for.
Okay. Maybe. How?
What do you mean how? Because not everybody invests in base. Some people are smart investors.
Most people don't come in with the money to invest in Exquisite. Most people coming into this hobby or any other investment space are not coming in with hundreds of thousands of dollars to diversify. Most people who are coming in were coming in with 10 grand, 5 grand, and we're hoping to turn that into something bigger. And I will tell you, you're right. There are people who make money. I heard you yesterday talk about small wins, compounding small wins, right?
Yes.
There's something much more attractive about a space when everybody in it is talking to you about doubling, tripling, and quadrupling their money. No matter what they did, they were doubling their money. It didn't matter if you were buying vintage. It didn't matter if you were buying modern. It didn't matter if you were buying football. It didn't matter if you were buying soccer. Whatever you moved your money into, a month later, it was more money. That's this euphoria. That's going to bring people in. Nothing attracts that crowd like a crowd. Now, there are people making money, but guess what? You go on Twitter and say, wow, I've got these small wins piling up. I was able to buy this one, and I went on Star Stock, and I made 10% on my thing, and I rolled it over, and I'm going to roll that 10% into something now on my slabs, and then I'm going to go to ComC, and maybe I'll make 8% there, and I'm going to roll. Now, guess what? That's amazing. If you're able to do that, great. You're winning, you're compounding, and you're growing your bankroll. But that's about as exciting as watching somebody peel a potato. It's not, wow, 2x, 3x, 10x, which is what drew everybody into this, right? That's the difference, man. There's ways to make money. You're 100% right. And there are people making money. But nobody goes to the bank and watches interest compound. They go to the slot machine. They go to wow, look at this. It's going to double. I'm going to double. Look at he's rolling the roulette.
So what's the value? What's the, like, how can somebody who's listening to our show right now use the information that we've provided, use some of the things we've talked about?
Don't be me. Don't be all or nothing. There are ways to win, as Andrew's telling you, right? Andrew's telling you that there are ways to make money in what we're doing now. Those small wins are important. But also, you can shoot for the moon on something. You might have to gamble a little bit for that 2x or 3x. You might have to take something that's a little riskier. But what I would say is pair up that risky with something that's a little bit safer. It doesn't have to be one or the other, right? And realize that those Hail Marys that used to be, you're going to make double on this. That people, if people listen to us, it's because they know we're here and they know hopefully that we're going to be honest and we're going to still be here tomorrow, next week, next month, and next year, which can't be said for a lot of the podcasts that have already come and gone in this area. Because it used to be you could throw a dart at the dartboard and anything you hit was going to be a winner. Used to be, if you were a sports card podcaster, you were a genius, right? Because you had it. Didn't matter. Oh, yeah, look. Bet on Edwards. The dude just hit 10 3-pointers. Go buy your Edwards Prism, baby. Go. And the next week, they'd come on and be a genius. See, what happened? Edwards. Look at the Prism went up because Prism was going up. Everything was going up.
Right.
Didn't matter who you picked. You buy Edwards now, you're probably going to lose money.
Well, let's talk about that.
Shoot.
What's more frustrating for an investor than being right about the player or the investment, but the whole market's down, right? So, like, when Prism is going up and Edwards has a good game, it balloons. When Prism's going up, Luka hits a game winner against the Clippers. His card goes to what we thought was ridiculously record highs, 2,200 for his Prism PSA 10. But what's someone to do now when maybe they're right about a player, Evan Mobley, Edwards, LaMelo, they know this guy's going to outperform, but the market for the cards that they can afford is going down. What are they to do?
Well, you have to reset zero, right? You can't look at Mobley and say his Prism is going to be $500, right? You can't look at the old Zion numbers. You have to now relearn what things are worth. And believe it or not, it's going to be very hard to do that because of the wax prices. Wax prices have not come down commensurate with what you can get in those boxes. People are all still gambling. People are all still ready to gamble. It's the same thing with your NFTs, man. And it's why when you have that reveal 72-hour period, 24-hour period, people are paying more. And then once the reveal happens, gone. So everybody's breaking wax. It's the same thing in the NFT space. It's that gamble. It's that shot that you can pull out of a first off the line, a gold wave of one of these rookies, the LaMelo or the Edwards or something like that, right? But chances are you're not. Chances are you're pulling a blue wave of Maxi Kleber. As Polwax pulled a gold wave of Maxi Kleber last night. I was on Whatnot watching some breaks.
Little Polwax or the Polman?
It was one of the guys. It was just regular Polwax. It wasn't a breaker I recognized. But point, guys, is this, right? Let's take it back a step, right? Right? It made sense for Zion's PSA 10 to be worth $1,000, right? When the pop was 8,000, Zion was playing, right? He was killing it. He looked like he was going to be a star. And Damian Lillard's card was $2,000 from 2012 Prism base in PSA 10, right? And Anthony Davis's was similar, and Kawhi's was similar, and Clay's was 15 or 1,800, right? Now, Zion's is 20,000 pop, and the Clay and the Lillard and the Davis and the Kawhi have all come down significantly. Now, Kawhi's been injured, Clay's been injured, Davis has not been playing so well, Lillard's not been playing so well. You can say that a lot of that
looks terrible.
It could be performance based, could be not, but you have to remember everything is kind of tied together, guys. I mean, and think about the beginning of the episode where I talk about BGS 9.5s versus PSA 10s, watching a min gem and what it sells for, watching the different prices of these cards, right? So It all is attached. Why vintage went up, why we thought vintage was going to be a great play was because when you saw Mahomes cards going where they were, it was stupid for Montana's cards to not go up. You see, Brady's cards, it was stupid for these things to not go up. You saw Giannis's card go to $7,000. Why is Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain, Michael Jordan card, why are they less than Giannis and Luka, right? So they move up, right? But if those cards come down, and all of them come down, you have to remember to reset. You look around, look at what the things are. The comps are important. One of the best values of Card Ladder or any of those tools is you could spend some time in research. Look at what things are selling for. Those PWCC monthly auctions, they're pretty important, right? The golden auctions, they're important. You see what things sell for because when you're valuing what your Edwards should sell for, that was yesterday's price. You ever hear somebody say that? That's yesterday's price. That was yesterday's comp, right?
They say that a lot of shows.
It's very true. Because you can't say my Edwards, Prism base is going to be worth $1,000 because Zion is worth $1,000, right? What would you rather have? 3 Dames or 1 Edwards? You have to remember, you have to look at what the value of all the rest of the market is. And you're right. If the market is down, it's tougher to be right about your guy and your card. Mobley could turn into the greatest thing since sliced bread. But if people are already pricing Mobley's cards way too high, you can't win. Even if he's right, even if he's the greatest player, if his card's already priced for him to be the greatest player, or if it's already priced based on yesterday's price, you're not going to win. You got to find something else.
Something I like to do, guys, I go to onlyalt.com and they have a tab on there called Recent Listings. So I have a few plays today for you guys, but I'll start with this one. Because under recent listings, you could find some cool cards, and I found one that's $7 for a legend. So I'll start with this one. We'll jump all over the place.
$7.
Yeah, it's an interesting card. $7 graded. It is right here. Ricky Henderson, Turn Back the Clock. Topps card. What do you think of this card?
Really? I love it. That is from 87 Topps.
That's from 87 Topps. Now, there's 10s, there's 10s, there's 9s, there's 8s. This is a 6.5. $7 is my point. And this is a legend. This is a cool card. It's a card that if you guys, you don't know what to buy, you're over modern, you're over ultra modern. I always like to go to these new listings on OnlyAlt because I would have never even known about this card if it wasn't for someone listing it for $7 just a few minutes.
What this reminds me of? Topps does this now. They have cards where in the card they have a picture of an older card. They kind of do stuff like this now in archives. They do it.
Yeah, this is a 1982 card.
Yep, it's a picture of his 82 card. About to steal, about to take off from first to second. I love Henderson. Henderson, I think, is underrated.
I think so,
One
too.
of the greatest run scorers of all time, if not the greatest. I think he holds the record for the most runs scored still.
Is that important stat? Isn't that kind of a stat that's only as good as your team? Or I guess it's like a combination.
How do you win games?
Right.
You got to score more runs than the other team. It's a pretty important stat. It's kind of like Moneyball, right? Why do we like Scott Hatteberg? Why do we like Giambi? He doesn't hit. He only hits 250. It doesn't matter. He gets on base. A walk will get you on the base the same as a single. When you get on base, you score a run. Ricky got on base. Ricky could create runs. He was one of those. It's completely lost in today's game. He got on base, steal
second, single brings you
steal
home.
Third. Steal second, steal third. And you don't even have to. If you're leading off and you get on first, whether it's through a walk, through an infield hit, whatever it is, and you steal second, 2 outs score you. Nobody else has to actually get a hit. You get 2 sac flies. They move you over from second to third, or a ground ball to the other side of the infield moves you to second to third, and a sac fly scores you from third. It's a huge weapon to have somebody who can get on base and get over to second with no outs. You should score there. You should score a run without even having to get a hit. You get a hit in there.
Is Ichiro going to be our generation's Ricky Henderson?
No, he's a much better hitter, different type of hitter. He was like a slap hitter, and he stopped running towards the end of his career. I would have loved it if Ichiro played his entire career in the majors. That would have been amazing. Because remember, he came over. He was already, he had already played many, many years in Japan. The fact that he got 3,000 hits in America after having 1,500 hits or whatever the heck he had in Japan already is just an amazing, mind-blowing thing, A lot of people don't count the Japanese stats. Obviously, Sadahara would be the home run champ of all time if Japanese stats counted. But I love Ichiro. I'm a big fan. Different type of game. He was more like old style, also slap hitter. Get the bat on the ball, punch it, move it into the outfield, hit them where they're not, and get on base. Yep. Not a lot of that.
And was Ricky a lefty too?
No, I don't think so. I don't think Ricky was a lefty. I think
because Ichiro's advantage was like anytime, as soon as he hit the ball, he was already out of the box. So he was like halfway to first before they even touched the ball. Next play. This is a courtesy, and we might do a segment on this.
If you can, I don't know if it's going to be the same one, but if you can, just that's the only alt. Like you can click on there and find recent listed in the auctions. Is that what it is?
So you go to the only alt homepage, and then you you scroll down to the bottom. I'm doing this on desktop, so I don't know how it works for you, but you could also filter by recent listings in the filter section.
Okay.
But here, I'll show you. On desktop, I went to alt.com.
Yep.
Here we are. Alt.com. You have the liquid auctions. Download their app. Here you could search by category. Here are some players that are up in the last 7 days. And then if you go to recent listings, they always have these cool recent listings, right? Like here's an Oscar De La Hoya card.
Wow, look at
that. I don't like him, by the way. No one likes him. Dana White hates him. Canelo left him. Said all he cares about is drinking. His words, not mine. But you get to see all of these recently listed cards. What's also cool with recently listed cards is the user's live. So if you're on here and you catch it, you could send some low ball offers to see maybe someone's really desperate and looking to cash out quickly.
I mean, that's pretty cool, man. I mean, listen, I don't know if it's that card, but Ricky Henderson deserves a little more attention than he gets. I think when he retired, what's funny is he's known as the greatest leadoff hitter of all time. I think when he retired, we're talking about 2003, I think he played until. I think when he retired, I'm pretty sure he was in the top 100 all time in home runs. As a leadoff hitter, as a speed guy, as the man of steel, they called it. STEAL was his nickname, I'm pretty sure he was in the top 100 home run hitters of all time to play the game when he retired. He might not be there anymore because obviously it's been 20 years of power hitting. But pretty cool. Picking them all.
Look at this card.
Davy Crockett. Those were huge. Those were huge cards. Davy Crockett. Three Stooges. So,
it's funny, man. My shadowy coder friend, he spends his day researching. I think we do as well, but that's like the behind the scenes work. So when I'm lost or don't know what card to buy, I always like to go and kind of get like this inspiration, right? When you go to recent listings, you see cards that you've never seen before.
That's cool.
And then you could also go down the rabbit hole. Like Sasha Tamadon posted a card, 3 boxing cards today of Sugar Ray Robinson, right? So then I go and I search, what are all the Sugar Ray Robinson cards out there? And I think that's important, right? Because it's the same thing with NFTs too. We always go and look at what are new NFTs? What are ones releasing today? What are NFTs from 3 years ago? What are 2017 NFTs? You have to do this like kind of background work to find markets, find cards, find players that are cardboard relevant, but people don't know about or don't realize it yet.
Love it. I love it. All right, man. So I was a downer, right, on my stuff. You have another play?
You're getting blinded by the sun. You're literally getting destroyed.
The sun's crushing me. The sun's crushing me. I'm just gonna go like this. I'm a little to the side.
I have a play that I'm gonna feature from our audience. They put it in our Discord.
Go.
I thought it was a great play, and I think you agreed it was a good play.
I know which one you're talking about. This is a great play.
So Formula One's back in 3 months, and this is a play that you could send to SGC. I think their turnaround times are pretty spot on. $30 regular service. And by the way, stay tuned. We're going to have a fun little holiday giveaway with SGC coming up. So stay tuned for that. It's a F1 card. But it's not an overpriced rookie card, that's or overpriced like $10,000, $5,000 that are out of the price range of most people. So this is a Topps Now card. Lewis Hamilton, Verstappen, 1 race to go. Kind of this cool card. People are saying this is the race of the century. You have a beautiful back here, like kind of like summarizing what this card's about, and it's $9.99. So Topps Now card, very cheap entry point. You get as many as you want. You'll get them in 2 to 4 weeks, and then you could send it to SGC. And F1 is back in 3 months. Miami's going to be huge. We've talked about that. The sport is just gaining popularity. This is one where that you could have a quick flip opportunity.
Guys, if you listen to the show, I'm a fan of some of the tops now. Mason Greenwood was one of my plays. We had the Mikey. We had, the basketball player. We had that one. I'm giving a couple of those tops now. You can get that card for as low as $4 if you buy 20 of them. Right? It's $79.99 for 20 of them. It's $4 a card. Grade them, SGC. Don't grade them. Hold them for when it comes back. It's a really cool card because even though it's not rookies of these guys, it is the number 1 and number 2 guy. It's Max and Lewis Hamilton, and it is the 2 guys who are fighting for the championship with that one race to go. It kind of, marks that day, marks that race, has both of them, whether you're a fan of one or the other. You're kind of covering your bases. They'll probably go into the season as number 1, number 2 favorites to win again next year, those 2 guys. And, you're basically off season, you're getting it now, and you're able to probably, have something that's an easier flip, come season starts. Also, if I'm not mistaken,
19 hours left to buy, guys, just so you know.
Yeah. So, by the time this is posting tonight, you'll probably still have about 12 hours to go. So hopefully you're somebody who listens to us, pretty, you get your notifications on. Otherwise, this is one you might miss. But I'm pretty sure they have parallels of the card that are randomly done to people who buy this stuff also. So for those of you who like that lottery ticket, I'm pretty sure as you were flipping through, one looked like it was like a purple background, one looks like it was a gold background. I think they might even randomly put in, if you buy these, you might randomly be able to get number ones. If you pull that up, maybe it's in the description.
Yeah, so it says look out for gold out of 1, black out of 10, teal and red out of 99 parallels with lucky orders.
So you may, order 20 of these and they stick a numbered one in there and you're really hitting it out of the park. Never know. You never know what the print number is going to be on these, how many people are going to want them and that kind of stuff. There's always that little chance too when you get that delivery. Look at this. I got the gold 101. And then you better.
That would be insane.
Think of it. Whose play was that?
The Card Father 13.
Card Father 13. Nice play. Shout out.
Mizman. He has that countable anteater V-friend. What a guy. Just killing the game this year. Good for you, Card Father.
All right. 400-yard passing games. An impressive thing still, right? Doesn't happen that often, even in today's NFL, pass-happy NFL, right? It happens. Shout out from me, because it's mostly now. Shout out from me. Who you think the guys who have the most 400-yard passing games are?
Aaron Rodgers,
right?
Mahomes.
Could be people. So Aaron Rodgers is number 9 on the top 10 list with 9 of those games. I think you could say he's tied for 7 because there are 2 other people who also have 9, right? Aaron Rodgers is
Peyton Manning.
9. Peyton Manning's number 2 with 14 of them.
Brady's probably 5th or 10th.
5th with 12. So you got Brady, Manning at 2.
Who was
people are shouting it out like a Jeopardy game, and they're listening like, Andrew, how do you not guess this guy?
Is it Drew Brees?
Drew Brees, exactly, number 1 with 16 of them.
Drew Brees has wow. I hate Drew Brees. I gotta tell you, I'm sorry.
Roethlisberger, by the way, has 12 of them also with Tom Brady.
I don't hate Drew Brees. I don't like Drew Brees.
The top 5. Phillip Rivers in there, Matthew Stafford, Prescott, Eli Manning, Carson Palmer. So,
this stat is irrelevant now.
I bring it up now. We've named the whole top 10. We named the top 5. Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, Brady. There's somebody who is sitting right below Manning and higher than Brady, who had 13 of these games. And people are out there probably listening. Is it Patrick Mahomes? No, he hasn't played that much. Who else is in? Who else is in there? Is it? Who could it have been? Right? Is it Brett Favre? Like who had those kind of numbers? Right? That 400-yard thing is great. It's 115 different quarterbacks have done it at least once, right? And it's an interesting thing. Do you know who I'm talking about? You have any idea?
Mm-mm.
No, huh?
Bart Starr.
No, back then no one really did it.
They all got to 399 and stopped. And then they ran the ball.
What if I were to tell you that
Fun fact, one of my biggest pet peeves is poor stats. I hate arbitrary stats. Have you noticed that, Cage?
What if I were to tell you in a season, this player, a record at the time, right?
You're building this up.
By the way, most 400-yard passing games is one of the few records that Drew Brees still has that Brady hasn't beat yet. But give him a chance. Give him a chance, right? But so how about this? In one season, 362 completions. First quarterback ever to throw for 5,000 yards with 5,084 yards. On most games throwing for at least 300 yards, 9 of them during the season. And 4 400-yard games. 48 touchdown passes, which at the time broke the previous record of 36. Right? So let's talk about that, right? We've seen that record fall, but you see it fall by a couple here and there, right? We're talking about the game had only seen one QB throw for 36. And you know who that was? It was George Blanda, right? Threw for 36 for the Houston Oilers in 1961, and Y.A. Tittle did it in 1963, right? So the game was a running game. At the time, the stats I'm giving you, they're like they're current NFL game type stats, right? Most games are at least 4 or more touchdown passes, 6. Most consecutive games are at least 4 touchdown passes, 4. Right? And here's the fun part. People in the who are listening have guessed this. He did it with his 2 number 1 wide receivers, 1 and 2, Mark Clayton and Mark Duper. You ever heard of those guys? They're not exactly Jerry Rice, right? And Mark Clayton and Mark Duper, who had the first teammates ever to gain over 1,300 yards receiving in one season. Pretty crazy to think about this, because it happened in 1984. And it didn't happen again. 5,000 yards was not done again until Drew Brees did it 20 years later, right? Just tells you how nuts the 1984 season was for Dan Marino and how underappreciated the guy is. And what I've watched in our auctions, we take it full circle, right? Because you're like, hey, what am I watching? What am I looking at? You know, there's less than 400 PSA 10s of his.
Is that right? Of Dan Marino?
Yep. 1984 tops. I think it's card number 123, I think it is. But I'm not telling you to go there, because even that's still several $1,000s, right? The PSA 9, however, the pop is under 4,000. It's 3,000 and change. It's not exactly a rare card. Sort of like the Montana 9 you gave, right? But here's the fun. Even at 3,000 and change, the pop on Dan Marino, who never won a Super Bowl, guys. Remember, never won a Super Bowl. Had passing numbers at the yin yang, and I don't know what he would have done now. But he was doing this when every other team was just handing the ball off to big shoulder-padded running backs. He was slinging the ball all over the place. And he lost to the 49ers. He lost to Joe Montana in the Super Bowl that year, right? So here was a young guy, comes out, you know, I think he played at Pitt, I think it was where he came out of college, and he turned middling receivers. Mark Clayton, 73 catches, 1,389 yards, 18 touchdowns. I mean, these were numbers that they were literally unheard of at the time. Nobody was throwing the ball. I would say that type of stuff, then running guns came with, you're talking about like the Detroit Lions who were throwing the ball all over the place and that kind of stuff, right? I think it was almost Curry-like. It was almost like change the game. You know what I mean? Like gunslinger, throw the ball all over the place, because there were Joe Montana would all say, he doesn't have numbers like this. None of these guys did. Joe Namath, none of the quarterbacks that you would think of. Check that list out, right? You know, it's Manning, it's Brady, you know, it's Drew Brees, and it's Dan Marino, who played in a different era entirely, right? But he was that first one. He was the one who was chucking the ball up there before anybody else was doing it. And he was putting up great numbers. He just didn't win. He got real close, didn't win. And that's going to be a knock on him. But his PSA 9, 1984 tops, sell yesterday $350. $350 for a mint card. You can't
if a PSA 9 is $350, is it better to get a 10 then? And the 10's only $1,000?
If you have the money.
I don't like that spread. I like 9s when they're really cheap.
Yeah, I mean, $350 for one of the great quarterbacks of all time is still, I consider, pretty cheap. I think the Montana 9 was thousands, right? It was a couple $1,000 at the time. So I consider this one kind of like one of those entry level, like you don't see it. And that 84 season, while it doesn't have the happy ending of him winning a Super Bowl, it's kind of one of those like movie type things. Like you could see a documentary about Marino, like the greatest QB that never won. The guy who almost got to the Super Bowl, one of those kind of. Kurt Warner has a damn movie coming out about him. Marino was so much better. I'm not talking about a movie of like, Ace Ventura, which he was in.
So good. I love that movie. Is Marino less likable?
Yeah, Marino's definitely. I remember collecting in the 90s when Marshall Faulk came out, and you started to have that. He was in the Colts to begin with, and people were chasing young QBs like Drew Bledsoe. Myself was chasing him, and you had Marshall Faulk, and you had these guys who were coming out in football. When you were pulling an insert card, Marino was who you wanted. Marino was the most expensive one. Marino was like the guy. He was the best QB. He had the strongest arm. He had horrible knees, and he was. What's funny about it is he has the numbers of today's quarterback, but not the mobility. He couldn't get out of the way of anybody. You're talking about like a dead duck back there. He was just sitting duck. He could not avoid sacks ever, and I'm sure it cut his career down because he was pummeled back there. He looked like RoboCop with the knee braces and stuff, But I just like it because I think people will catch on to this, right? And it to make it a Seinfeld episode and talk about like there are different ways to play this, right? You can put $350 into a random Josh Allen, or you can put $350 into a random, I don't know,
Luka Tiger NFT.
Who else? Who else is out there now? Zach Wilson. Or you could buy Dan Marino. Mint 9. 37-year-old card. I have a feeling that those are the kind of cards that people might rotate that investment into. And sure, if you can get a 10, go get a 10. I do not own this card, by the way, guys. And I'm shocked that I don't because I love Marino. And I probably should buy one. I will tell you, there are a bunch of BGS 10s. Less than 100, but more than you would think. Normally, when you have like a 400 PSA 10 Marinos, you wouldn't think that there's going to be that many. Like, look at Michael Jordan. There's 3 BGS 10s when there's 300 and change PSA 10s. I think there might be 60 or 80 BGS 10s of the Marino card. There's way more than you would think. So that might be what I go out and grab. But I was looking at it today. I remember him being huge when I was a kid. And my thought here is I don't think there's any QB coming out in the last couple of years who will ultimately hold a candle to what Dan Marino did in the league. The numbers he put up, the records he had. I don't think any of these kids are going to be even close. None of them. Mahomes maybe because obviously he won an MVP and stuff, but I'm talking about like the last couple of years QBs. I'm talking about like your Mac Joneses and your Trevor Lawrences and your Zach Wilsons down to your Sam Darnold and who's last year's crazy crop, right? Your Fields and Burrow and Herbert. I mean, a lot of people invested a lot of money in these guys. I mean, to me, you look at that top 10 QB list of all time. Most people put Marino 4th, 5th. I mean, he's in there behind. You'd probably say Tom Brady, Joe Montana, and Peyton Manning. Manning and Montana could fight for second or third. Brady's first, 4th. Brett Favre, because he has the MVPs and the Super Bowls. Marino's there. If he's not 5th, he's 6th, 7th. I mean, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Fun stuff. What do you think? No? You're like, I don't even know who Dan Marino is.
I know who Dan Marino is. I disagree with you with NFTs, man, because every day that you say that these people are leaving and people want to make money, you are right. The issue that we're having that's different than cards is NFTs have gone mainstream way faster than cards have. Today, I just got a message that ding was from our landlord in Mexico, the guy who owns the property. And he asked, he said, Andrew, I know you guys started a new crypto casuals channel. help me learn more about NFTs.
Right. Yeah, because people still think it's just you put your money in, you make 10 times your money. That guy's going to lose money, and he's going to tell 5 people to stay away from NFTs.
I agree. I don't think the cycle has gone as fast as you think it will. I think we still have another 12 months of that.
Of people coming in and losing money?
Of people coming in learning about NFTs, they haven't even deployed a penny yet.
I mean, possibly.
This is a guy who has 3-4 properties in Mexico. You're worried for them, yes. But I'm saying that these people, there's still a lot of people that are still coming in. I would equate this to, April or May of cards of 2020. There's still a lot more people left to come in, Cage.
April of 2020. Okay. All right. Possibly. I just think, what's going to wind up happening is, once you see beer.eth for Budweiser and Pepsi dropping random microphones and everybody and their cousin in it, it becomes harder to navigate the space.
I don't think everyone and their cousin's in it yet, Cage.
Really? South Park just makes fun of it, right?
That's so funny.
Once South Park makes fun of it, it's completely mainstream. Saturday Night Live did a whole special about NFTs and then made it into an NFT, right? This, right? Like, it is. You can tell me it's not mainstream, but like, I went to go to the dentist, and my dentist is like, "I'm thinking about NFTing something here when I give a cleaning, like giving people an NFT with their toothbrush."
He did not say that. He did not say that.
But he didn't. But you understand what I'm saying, right? I mean,
fine. Talk to me next year when he says that,
dude. I love you. Be careful in the NFT space.
What I'm saying is 3 people this week have messaged me to ask me about my take on NFTs. These are people who have never shown even an inkling of interest in sports cards. They actually thought I was an idiot. 4 people. And now they're asking about NFTs, and these are guys who don't really invest. They don't speculate. They don't gamble. How?
Right. So what are you going to tell them to buy?
I'm not going to tell them to buy anything. I'm going to have a call with them and show them this is how OpenSea works. This is where you go and look at the contract. This is where you see.
You're done doing that, and they tell you, okay, you've been in this.
Shut up, Andrew. Tell me what to buy to make $1 million on my.
Right. That's what they're going to say.
I'm going to pump every single one of my bags. No, I'm going to tell them to buy the best NFT in the world, LucasTigers.com.
Listen, I think that's right. I think that's very true. Listen, it's an evolving space. You know what my concern is. My concern is comparing it to cards is a fool's errand, right? Because you can't just go out and buy. We're seeing NFTs. You know what we're seeing NFTs in the card space?
Tell me.
In grading. Everybody's coming in and creating their NFT. But replace NFT with grading company. There's a gold rush. And everybody came in with their PFP project. A grading company. And what's going to happen to the people who have their cards slabbed in a Johnny come yesterday slab? Right? What's going to happen? They're going to have to take that card out. That money's going to go down the drain. That's the difference, right? There's no centralized warehouse of it, right? There's no Topps, Panini, Upper Deck of NFTs where people go to it. It's licensed. It has a history and it's done. No. What you have, if you want to compare cards to NFTs, is you have everybody coming out with their own card, right? You got this guy down the block made Pro Set, and that guy down the block over here, he came up with this one and this one, and you don't even know who they are. Half the time, you don't even know who's making it. It's an anonymous card maker, and you're supposed to buy it, right? Go ahead and buy it. You don't know whether it's going to be here next week.
And then they get all their, and then that grading company gets all their influencer friends to post on Instagram at the exact same time of day.
Exact same time, or maybe they send one in the mail. Here's a Johnny come yesterday graded PSA 10, and the person opens their mail and they say, "Oh, look what I got! A Johnny come!" And oh wow, that guy's using Johnny come yesterday grading. It's just a little bit of a different thing, man. Because the difference is, if cards 20 years ago were everybody making cards, and then Topps showed up and said, all right, now Topps going to make cards. Everybody flexed the Topps. The NFT space, what's scary to me about it, right? And listen, this is why Panini on digital cards for the sports NFTs, if you want to call them that, and or Top Shot might have a little bit of a head start, right? Top Shot's different because they didn't exist, but they got the NBA license behind it. The problem is that established companies are going to come into this and do it their way. And we don't know what they're going to do. We don't know whether or not the Adidas model of pairing with NFTs is the way you're going to go. We don't know whether the Nike model of just buying somebody's NFT company is going to do it. Or we don't know if the Facebook model, which is we're just going to turn ourselves into a metaverse that crushes the sandbox because we already have millions of people on our platform. And every hoverboard, sneaker, accessory avatar becomes worthless because in order to exist in the Facebook metaverse, you have to buy Facebook NFTs to wear, to use as your avatar, to fly you around on a hoverboard. That could be what the future is. And then everything that you've purchased now early is too early and worthless. This is not for cards. I'm just telling you, I'm not the British are coming, I'm not trying to be an alarmist just to be an alarmist. All of these areas, you have to preach a little bit of caution. And this is old man, dad, uncle, grandpa, whatever you want to view me as, telling everybody to pump the brakes, because nothing can survive with the multiples that these things have. They don't stay. And let me teach you from my experience, right? Every one of these things has been great for a time. Cards were great. They were a 10x, 20x opportunity. They are not now. Top Shot was a 10x, 20x opportunity. It is not now. NFTs were a 10x, 20x opportunity. It is not now. The difference of making huge money, no money, or losing is when you got in and when you get out. Yeah, look, Red Bull Digital Collectibles. Anyway, listen, dude, I'm sure there's money to be made. I'm sure it's great. They just want you to explain something to them, and that's great. You provide education. Not a lot of people coming in will have that same benefit. They'll just come in and fly blind. At least people have you to explain stuff to them, which is great. Shoot.
Well, I mean, I think we have the best job in the world, first off. I get to use the things I want to talk about anyway, and we talk about them live on the air. So our episodes are unlike any other because we do them every day. So they're a little bit more conversational in nature. Sometimes we have great interviews. But this was he's been the guy who has been renting us our place in Mexico for about a year now. He's been a big F1 fan, and he sent me this link. So this is sweet.io, which I'm going to have to look into a little bit more. Red Bull Racing. And then you see here, you have this Max Verstappen card. Total print run of 33. Sold out. 399.
I'd buy one of those if I knew about it.
So you would?
I would have bought one of those just on the gamble. So not because I want it, because I love it, because I try to flip it next week. $400, why not?
$400, why not? Low print run. Back to the same thing we're talking about, right? Low print run. So, I mean, dude, there's this one of one Red Bull Racing car that's currently there's a bid for $23,000. And can I tell you something that I find interesting about this, Cage? What are they priced in? This is an NFT, but what is it priced in?
Dollars.
Correct. So again, like Top Shot, it's making it a little bit more accessible instead of, hey, create your MetaMask wallet, buy Ethereum, move your Ethereum to the MetaMask wallet. This is, hey, buy it in USD. This is just a digital card, a digital collectible. That's an episode. We'll be back tomorrow, LukaNation. We have some awesome guests lined up. We have an awesome giveaway for the holidays. We're going to go live. It's a giveaway that I've talked about for a while, and I'm really glad that this company is stepping up and doing this. I'm looking forward to it. Any final words before we cap?
Whatnot on Sunday, 10 a.m. It's going to be a fun week. Fantasy football playoff start for a lot of leagues, including ours. I got some injuries and stuff. I'm trying to put the team together on with some Band-Aids and some super glue. Mint Collective, guys. We're hoping to get some promo codes and stuff like that coming out to you soon. If you're on the fence, let us know. DM us if it's something you're thinking about doing, and we'll see what we can do. Try to help you out with that as well. That's January 28th to the 30th. I'm really looking forward to that. I haven't started my Vegas diet yet. I had a bag of potato chips for lunch today, so that was not exactly diet.
That's not terrible. We did it. Our post is doing so. Shout out to Alex, who's been running our Instagram page. He's doing an amazing job. We had a post. Our influencers good for the hobby. And a lot of good takes, man. A lot of really good comments, a lot of good takes. So if you want to participate, if you want your voice to be heard, most people, it's like most things. It's the question is nuanced. They're good in some ways, they're bad in other ways. So
one more thing before we hit the end record button. It's an interesting thing. We'll see how this goes. Unplanned. We'll throw it out there for Andrew to be surprised by it. Send us a message. Send me a message, Andrew a message, send the podcast page a message. We gave a play today, and that play, we both gave our own plays, but we gave another play, which is considered a play from the audience, right? With your F1 card, Tops Now, card. Those things are up for 24 hours. If I don't happen to be looking or it's not something that, catches my eye, I might have missed that. And I think it's a great play, and it came from someone in our audience. And I think we could probably do a segment like that, whether it's every day or once a week or whatever it is, where we do, the best submissions in our eyes of plays. Something like that, where it's open for 24 hours. If it's good enough, we're going to have to put it up right then and there, because I can't get, play of the week. Looking back, and you can't buy it anymore. We can't do that. But, you guys are seeing things. This hobby's huge and vast, and there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of sales,
1,000%.
a lot of cool things that you're going to see things that we might not. So we'd love to, have that input, and we'd love to give you credit for it and share it with the rest of the community. That's what we're here for, So let's see what we got.
Thanks, I totally agree, man. There's so much power in community. I think the future, if there's nothing else that's not going away, it's the power of community and online communities and working together. So we've seen that with Wall Street Bets for one example. But I mean, you could go down the list. There's so many examples of community power. And I think that's just one. All right, LukaNation,